I sat down last night and I was thinking, how can I help people that want to buy a narrowboat? Well, it turns out it's not quite as easy as it seems. I'll give you my true perspective. About 6 months ago, my wife and I sold our house and we moved on to this 59-foot narrowboat. Our children had left home, so we've got rid of all our furniture and we've put some of it into store. I'll tell you something, a funny thing's happened. And the funny thing is, we've realised how little we need to be comfy. And believe me, we are comfy. In our house, we're always cold. And our little boat here, we're really toasty. And we're moored at the moment in this lovely marina called Aqueduct Marina near Church Minsel. So if you're thinking of coming on this journey, I'll tell you everything I know. It's quite addictive. It's a new way of life. And it's really, really, really exciting. Now, imagine selling your house and then the day of your purchase, you find that the house you're buying, the person has sadly died. Well, that's a situation we were in. So we had to look around pretty quickly for somewhere to live. We had boat before, and we didn't live on it, but we felt that the broker had definitely seen us coming, and I think we've learned a lesson, a hard lesson. So this time we were looking for boats around the £70,000 mark, and my wife encouraged me to look for boats around the 100,000 mark, which was in the end was definitely the right answer for us. So we found this boat that had been a 1985 hull that had been stripped down, and everything in it is new engine, everything was just a bare hull. The prices are obviously very variable. There's some here on this marina £40,000, and there's some even £330,000. If you're thinking of doing this, it's best to make sure you really get on with your partner, because in 59 feet there's no room to fall out. My wife's sitting there watching me, smiling. So I expect you've done all the nitty gritty. You've been through all the magazines. You've been on YouTube. Keep doing that. Learn as much as you can. That's my advice. There's so much good advice on YouTube, I think, now. Let me tell you what I know about hulls. So age isn't everything. Ours is a 1985 hull built by Rugby Boats. And at the time, 1985, the steel was made in Britain, and it was the best in the world without a doubt. And nowadays, it's sadly China's turn. When you see the boat, of course, you get this number like 1064, and you see that everywhere, and that's the thickness of the steel. It means the hull base is 10 millimeters, the hull sides are 6 millimeters, and the cabin roof is 4. If you get it surveyed before purchase, which is a good idea, there's 4 different types of survey. There's a full survey in and out of the water. There's a hull survey out of the water, internal survey in the water, and there's an internal survey in the water and looking at the fit out. And there's also a specific engine survey. It's best to get the boat out of the water, and the surveyor will check the thickness of the metal and put little chalk marks on the side of the boat to see the thickness before you get the full report. You'll also hear about the boat safety certificate, which lasts for 4 years, and it's mandatory for the Canal and River Trust. It's like an MOT for your boat. You also need insurance for your boat, and generally speaking, boat maintenance is a lot more expensive than you would think unless you're going to do it all yourself. But you aren't just buying a steel box, you're actually getting quite a lot closer to nature. You're buying a community. In the marina, there's quite a strong social side, but out on the cut, you're a little bit more isolated. But going through locks, it's great to help each other, and you're always meeting people out on the cut. If the boat's advertised as having its own mooring, take great care, because moorings are often more expensive than the boat. If you're buying a boat, make sure you check all the documents for the mooring agreement, particularly if it's an annual mooring fee and the mooring fee's been rising. Our boat was essentially new from hull up, and for the first time we felt like the broker was actually on our side. They weren't just trying to close a deal, they acted as our advocate and they negotiated hard for us, securing many extras we hadn't actually thought about, like we actually got a free mooring for a year at the marina. When you're spending this kind of money, you need someone in your corner that knows the ropes. It turned out it could have been a high-stress gamble, but it turned into a smooth, professional transition as it happened. If I could give you one single greatest tip for all this, is find a broker you can trust. It might sound simpler than you think, but it's really, really important. We were really lucky here. Now, full disclosure, we're not being sponsored by Aqueduct Marina, but the team here, both in the workshops and the brokerage, have been really quite exceptional. And I've just asked if I can have an interview with one of the brokers here at Aqueduct Marina, Gareth Thomas. What's the most common mistake you find for first-time buyers?
Okay, most common mistakes are people rushing into buying, not really doing the research. And when I say research, finding out what I will say to people, what are your top 10 things you want from the boat? Try and get these as the most important being your first, least the 10th. When you get to 7 out of these, realistically, you're then at a stage when you're ready to put an offer in. The biggest thing about narrowboats is compromise. You'll never get to 10 out of 10. Otherwise, the only way you can do that is actually go and have a boat built, wait 18 months and spend a lot of money.
If someone wants to live aboard full time, what are the 3 most common things that they need to know about?
I think heating, general space, and the layout of the boat. They should really be sticking to the guns. It is an awful lot smaller than the house, as you already know yourself, and they are really paramount things.
What tips can you give me when I first come into your office?
What I would say is always when you're looking at a boat, please ask for the boat book itself. The boat book will comprise of a lot of the time bills of sale, articles about the boat itself, all documentation about the boat. If it's been sold several times, then it should also comprise of all of these items. If the boat is after 1998, May the 4th, then it will need to have an RCD, a Recreational Craft Directive. Otherwise, it will be non-compliant.
This is a tricky one, but how do you make sure that a boat's not on hire purchase when you sell it?
Okay, normally on any hire purchase agreement, if it's dealt with the financiers who deal with narrowboating, they will actually have the bill of sale. So the owners will not be able to produce a bill of sale for the boat. And that in turn will lead alarm bells for me. And I'll then research to see if the fact that it's been on finance at all. There isn't, unlike on car registrations, you cannot just put in a registration number or an index number and find out. So it is still a bit of a grey area. If you're in doubt, please look for more details, investigate.
Okay, I've had a survey and it comes back really bad. Can I still get my deposit back?
Your deposit is fully refundable if we cannot negotiate the sale and agreed amount between the vendor and the buyer. It is a deposit, it sits in our client account and is fully refundable if negotiations cannot be made.
If people want to see your current listings, can they register with you?
Yes, they can register. They can send us a quick email and we can add them to our marketing email set format. We've also got a WhatsApp group. There's a QR code on our website you can actually scan and you can be added to that. There won't be other people talking on that. It's just me and I add all upcoming boats onto the listings.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, Gareth. It's nice meeting you.
Pleasure.
Well, I think that was helpful. We'll pop out to the yard now and we'll have a look at some holes and some bow thrusters. These are the gunnels with a nice non-slip surface. I like to see nice broad gunnels. They get their name, of course, from the 15th century when the boats were built, the ships were built, and they put the guns on the walls, gun walls. but it's spelt Gun Wales. Brilliant bit of history. So the science is simple. The propeller is usually bronze and the shaft is stainless steel. These are noble metals, as they're known as. They don't like to corrode. The steel hull is less noble, so it bears the brunt of the electrical reaction in the water, unless there are these anodes to take the hit. We can compare them to a nearly new one, and the hull is perfect. And these are sacrificial anodes, as the name implies. There are three sorts of anodes. There's magnesium, which we use on fresh water, aluminium for brackish, and zinc for seawater. So bronze and stainless steel are higher up the list of noble metals rather than steel. Near the top of the list, or at the top of the list, is gold and platinum, and iridium, but they're just a bit expensive to make narrowboats out of, we found. Now, bow thrusters. Now, here's a real Marmite topic. They aren't essential, but they can be useful. The case for them is if you're trying to get into a lock or you're manoeuvring in a marina and it's windy, they can be handy. But if you're new to boating, it can give you a false sense of security instead of actually learning your boat handling skills. They generally have batteries that are dedicated to them at the bow. I think there's a boat on the marina with bow and stern thrusters, a bit over the top, I think. The big downside is the more you've got, the more there is to go wrong, really. And if you've got them, a good idea is to have a dedicated weed hatch, because there's nothing worse than trying to get a can out of them out when you're out on the cut. We don't have them on our boat, and really I don't want them. Well, I hope you found this helpful. There's such a lot to learn out there, and maybe we can do it together. If you want to subscribe, that would be great, and put comment and let me know what you want to learn about. I'm thinking about doing one about layout of boats next, because I think that would be a really interesting topic. But if you've got something you want to learn about, pop it in the comments and let me know. I'll always answer you. Anyway, nice going along with you. See you out on the cut.